Welcome to the Power of One. Today I'm going to be speaking to Lonia Roberts, who is an amazing young lady. And she's going to share her story with us. And some of it is a little sad, and some of it will speak to others and give them the courage to keep moving forward. Welcome to the show, Lonia.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So Lonia wrote a book called Cancer is Not a Death Sentence. And we're going to discuss this book. And she's going to share with us a little bit about her story and some things that have happened along the way. So tell us a little bit about the book and what made you write the book.
Okay. What inspired me to write this book was my son. Um, I wrote a journal during the process, going through my journey with cancer. I was writing a journal. I write in it every single day. And my ups, my downs, my when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm in the middle, going on that roller coaster ride. And my son said, Mom, you should write a book. And I said, I'm not a writer. He said, "Well, it doesn't take you to be a writer to write a book. It just takes a person to tell their story." So I said, all right, let me see. So I started jotting some stuff down and my life, stuff that I wrote in my journal, my journal. And also I'm a person that like to help people. So I said, well, wait a minute. I went through this journey and people don't know about when their insurance don't pick up where, to help them with the cancer, that there's other insurances out there that will help them straight for breast cancer. So I put that in my book. I put in scriptures that was helping me along the way, that strengthened me as I was, moving forward with through this process. Um, Basically, it was just to help people. That's what I do. I like to help people. I was a deacon in the church, I was the head of the bereavement team. So it's all about just helping people to move forward and let them know that, life still goes on. So let's just try to make the best of it. Um, and that's basically why I wrote this book, was to help people. And my son said, Mom, go ahead and write this so you can help others. So that's what I did.
And that was amazing. And reading the book and reading the part about you not having health insurance, and then you just started to look for different health insurance that would help you. That was amazing to me. And then you put those resources in the back of the book. And you said, Melanie, it's not a big book, but when I tell you this book is powerful, and that speaks to it. All the time, you don't have to have a million pages or go big to have something that's effective. So that was amazing. And you were diagnosed with breast cancer, and at the time you put in your book, when this doctor was talking to you, and she said, and you said, did she know that I was dying mentally and emotionally? So here it is that
Mhm.
you're diagnosed with breast cancer. And I don't know if all the doctors, I know there's amazing doctors, take that into consideration. Like someone just told you you're diagnosed with breast cancer, and it changes everything about you. Speak to that.
Yes. Well, at the time, I was actually studying the Book of Job, and I had everything, my concordance, everything lined out on my desk and in the dining room. And I get a phone call, and the doctor said, her name was Dr. Levy, and she called me, and I was in the middle of studying. Like I said, I was studying the Book of Job, and she said, she asked to speak to me. I said yes. She said, well, I have some news for you. And the way she said it, she sounded like really positive, like optimistic about it. And I said, oh, okay, well, what is it? What's the news? And she said, well, you do have breast cancer. And the first thing I said to her before I said, am I going to die?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, it's treatable. It's treatable, but you're not answering my question.
Yeah.
You said it's treatable, but while I'm being treated along the way, am I going to die? And
Mm-hmm.
she said, well, I want to have a meeting with you, but I just thought that was, mind you, I love this lady,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes doctors don't realize that bedside manner has to come into a play at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, I should have came to the office and talked to me about that because anything could have
Right.
happened during that time. I instantly, life stopped, time stopped,
Mm-hmm.
everything stopped for me at that moment. And I was just dazed for a moment. And then I just called my mother in the room and I said, Mom, they said I have cancer. Why me?
Mm-hmm.
Why me? I'm the person that takes the kids to church. I don't
Mm-hmm.
smoke. I don't do anything. I don't drink. Why me?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, who would you want to give that to? And I said,
Mm.
well, nobody. I wouldn't want to give it to anybody. I wouldn't want nobody to go through this, what I'm
Right.
going through right now inside. I'm dying inside.
Right.
And she said, well, we're just going to do what we have to do. God does things
Mm-hmm.
for a reason. Why not? You're a person that speaks out. You talk about stuff. You don't just let it linger. You find solutions. And I do. I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I sure was trying to find a solution.
I know you were.
So
Yeah.
yes, so that's what you do. So meanwhile, while you're going through this journey, talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked about it with some people, but for the most part, I wrote everything down. I wrote everything down because I felt like God was answering me through the pages as I was writing. The words were coming to life to me. So I felt like God was talking to me through my writing. And so as I was writing, it really, really helped. It helped me so much. And I advise anyone that's going through whatever they're going through, something that's traumatic, write it down because it really helps. If you can't talk to people, I trust God. That's the closest person to me besides my mother. So I talk to God. That's just who I use, during my journey. You know, People find coping skills. My coping skill was God. And that's what I used during my journey. I wrote everything down and I did everything I was supposed to do, and then I said, let me help somebody else. It's 15 years, cancer free. God kept me here for a reason. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
I talked to people, I did plays, and I also wrote my book. Whatever it took to reach people, to let them know that it's not a death sentence. You can go through the process and still live.
Now let's talk about the mental state and the stress of every day. Because if you're human and you're living, you're gonna have stress. Stress
Mhm.
plays such an important role in your life. So, how did you deal with stressful situations? Now, mind you, you're already diagnosed with cancer, but how did you deal with those stressful situations that came up when you were going through your treatment? Because having that positive mindset plays a big role in recovery, correct?
Yes, it really does. How did I deal with it? Well, first of all, it's been 15 years, but it still plays in my head. I
Mm-hmm.
um I was sing, I would write, I would talk to some of my friends, people that been through what I was going through. I was calling them. People that were going through what I was going through at the same time, I was calling them. Um, for the most part, dealing with the stress, it wasn't easy.
Right.
I have 5 children that I'm raising at the same time while I'm doing this. But I had my mother. She played a great part in this because on days when I just didn't want to be bothered, and I shut myself in my room, and the kids come knock on the door, and I just didn't want my mother say, step away for a minute. Your mom needs some time to herself, and I would just start writing. A lot of the times, I wanted to be by myself. People were coming over, checking on me, and I really, at the time, did not want any company. I just wanted to just go through what I was going through pray
Mhm.
about it, talk to God, and just move forward. But I did not shut them out. They
Mhm.
didn't know that I didn't want them there, even though I didn't want them there because I just wanted to just deal with this and get past it and get over it. But they came. I invited them in, but it was difficult. It was very hard because you in the beginning when you hear it, you start preparing for the worst. So I
Mhm.
was telling my children, my daughter, my baby girl at the time, when if I was to go to heaven, you'll still see me in your dream. So
Mm.
we'll be jumping rope in your dreams. I told my
Mhm.
son, we can play basketball in your dreams.
Mhm.
Just think about me and dream about me, and this is what we'll be doing. My older children, I was preparing and telling them, I need you to take care of the little ones.
Mhm.
I started calling the lawyers, writing out my will. This is all the things that I was doing when I first, was trying to deal with it, and then I cried. Many nights I cried to myself, this is happening to me. But that's basically what I was going through. I was just going through, the crying, the stressing, whether, worrying about what was going to take place with my children, if I pass away, But meanwhile, I was still doing my vitamins, doing my chemo, still going shopping, still doing everything that I needed to do to try. I was masking a lot of it,
Mm.
and that wasn't helping because at night when I was to myself, everything was piling on me. So, I cried, and crying helps because it cleansed me. It helped me be able to move forward. Okay, I got that out. I feel it lifting off of me. Okay, I'm gonna be all right. And that's all I kept saying. I'm gonna be okay. But it was a struggle. It was a struggle.
And now that you are cancer free, you still should stay stress free as much as you can, correct?
Correct. Because according to the doctors, stress is one of the things that can bring cancer back,
Mm.
on bring cancer back. So you must try to stay as stress free as possible. So and that's hard dealing, with life.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But you do the best you can, and you find a happy place somewhere and you try to the best of your ability,
Yeah.
live on, move forward. Don't
Hmm.
stop, move forward. Hmm.
And today we are going to dedicate this show to someone very special to you. And unfortunately, they lost their life to gun violence, and that was recent. And I'm sure that played such a stressful part in your life recently, correct?
Right. It was so early, and I'm just trying to deal with that also.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very stressful. Expect especially when someone is taken away from you abruptly. It's a difference. When I spoke to a grief counselor, they said it's a difference between someone that's going through an illness and pass away because you're kind of sort of preparing for it, although you're not completely prepared for it.
Right.
Taken abruptly, it's a different type of grief. I had two. He gunshot. I mean, he got killed by gun violence, and then his mother, who was ill, we told her about it, and she passed away from a broken heart. So it's two types of grief that I'm going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I'm trying to talk about it as much as possible so I don't be masking it, you
Mm-hmm.
know, um, especially when, everyday life, you're used to seeing them, talking to them every day is very, very difficult. I thank God that He dropped some great jewels off to our children. Like he went back as an adult and got his diploma. Then he went back to school and got his degree in business administration. And he was on the honor roll, honors. He was honors. He was on the dean's list. And he said, I'm doing this just for my children
Mm.
so they can see that. no matter what. You can do whatever you put your mind to.
Mm-hmm.
And so my daughter now is in college and she's on the dean's list. So, and my son, he's a supervisor, our son and our daughter, he's a supervisor at UPS. So they're following, what their father told them, but it just happened so fast, it happened so fast. We did not expect this. This is not something that was planned. And then his mom was my best friend. I can't call
Mm.
her and say, hey, your son getting on my nerves today, or your son passed away, because she
Right.
left right behind him when we told her. So,
Wow.
gun violence, this gun violence played a part in two lives,
Mm-hmm.
two lives that it took, two. And don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to guns as long as they're used in a responsible manner. But however, I do oppose gun violence.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if they're not uh, if the guns are illegal,
Mm-hmm.
they need to have stricter laws.
Right.
If they are legal, then they need to train the people that have them mentally, so they don't be so trigger happy, or
Mm-hmm.
train them not just the physical part but the mental part also.
Mm-hmm.
um I feel like that everything starts from childhood, our youth, our young children, and that they need to bring back the village.
Mm-hmm.
And what I
For
mean by
sure.
that is, back in the 80s and the 90s and the 70s, we see our children doing something that wasn't supposed to do, and an elder person say something to them and then take it to their parents. They deal with it right then and there. They like working together. That's not
Mm-hmm.
happening now. And
Right.
I believe that's
Right.
why we have so many loose cannons and so many children that's out here trigger happy, because parents are not using the tools that they're supposed to use to raise these children. Use the village. We
Mm-hmm.
need to bring the village back.
Mm-hmm.
I believe if we do, we wouldn't have so much gun violence going on. That's just my opinion.
And that's important what you say again, because the life that was so senselessly lost, there was a mental health issue that needed to be addressed, and it was overlooked. So, yes, I agree that we as a village need to not act so quickly to harm someone, but we have to understand what's going on with people. And sometimes, I will say this. I've noticed this, and I don't know whether you noticed this, and this has nothing to do with the lovely life that we're speaking about that was lost. But I will say that it seems like a lot of people are angry today, and a lot of people are just acting, and they're just doing. First of all, like the drivers on the, I mean, it's, I don't know what's going on, but people are so quick to react to hurt someone. And you don't know what's going on in someone's life. So now I'm going to turn it back on to the lovely life that was lost. This young man just spoke to his mother, who was very instrumental in his life. And his mom just told him she has what, 3 months to live. And that just, it did something to him. So his passing was senseless and it was wrong. But people are not taking the time out just to step back, de escalate, and use conflict resolution. They're just so quick to harm somebody, which is disturbing.
Yes, yes, yes. You're absolutely correct. Um, as soon as I was with him when we got the news, the 3 months to live, and it immediately triggered something. And he said, he even said it. He said, I'm gonna go ahead to the doctors and get, because I can't stand the fact of losing my mother. I'm gonna
Mm,
go to the doctor and see if I can get my medications regulated, so they can so I can be on point with everything. And then after
mm,
that, you and I can both go ahead and get married. And he went to my mother and said, um, I want to be the best son-in-law there is. He said that to her the same day. This is the day before he died. And I said, okay, okay, well, so let's do this. Let's make these moves. It's been over 25 years now. So we need to make those moves. And I spoke with him an hour before he got killed because I was on my way to take his mother her birthday gifts. And I asked him, how do I get in the building? And he said, he was directing me how to get in there. And I said, okay, I'll talk to you when I leave. I'll see you when I get out of here. And I called him back and I said, I'm about to leave. I'm on my way home now so I can check on that food that I'm cooking for us, the black eyed peas and the greens. I got them on already in the crock pots. And he said, okay. But that was it. That was the last time I talked to him.
mm, mm.
I was wondering why he wasn't there at the house. So I called him, no answer. I told my mom, she was here with me. I said, I'm going to go ahead and just make this plate and take it over to the apartment because this is not like him. And it's not like me to pop up and go over there because I usually
Right.
wait for him to call and come on over. So I went over there, and that's when I saw what I saw.
Yeah.
And I don't wish
Yeah.
that on nobody.
Yeah,
Nobody.
because you still have to, unfortunately, and again, that's that stress that you have no control over. But you have to take care of you. But what just happened, you just lost a piece of your heart, and like you said, not once, but twice. But I am so glad that you have a support system in your wonderful children. And that expression, time will heal all wounds, is just not true. But you lean on your support system, especially on those hard days. You know what I mean? Those extremely hard days. So I do want to thank you so much for sharing your story. But please tell the viewers where they can get your small but mighty book.
You can go on Amazon. Amazon has it. Kindred Books has it. And Barnes and Nobles have it also.
That's awesome.
Those are all the three places you can go.
Okay. Well, I do want to thank you so much for sharing your story, being open, and the willingness to help others. And this is a resource that is going to be so powerful. Again, at the end of this book, it is some resources on health coverage. If you don't have the health coverage and you need to get a surgery done or you need resources, this book is just, again, so powerful. So I encourage you to go out and purchase this book. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for speaking with me, for listening to me. I do not take for granted all of the viewers that watch The Power of One. The whole goal of this show is to educate and provide resources. Please purchase that book. It may benefit someone and it may save your life. Peace and love.